Thank you first for having me as part of the jury and part of the team over here. The process was really interesting because we got recommendations and case studies from across different industries and different streams of functions of HR. And interestingly, what emerged from that is the maturity levels of organizations and the different stages that they're at. It made the jury process really interesting because we had to put on several different lenses when we were looking at the kind of categories that companies had nominated themselves for. So essentially what may sound extremely simple vanilla for one company was actually very path-breaking and productivity enhancing and pretty much a change management tool for some other companies. But it was interesting to see how all of these fell into place with the kind of metrics that we were looking at to judge and the criteria we were looking at to actually evaluate them. The process was really, really interesting, and Dun & Bradstreet, of course, made the entire process very meaningful and worth the time spent. So today's event has been extremely worthwhile and really, really well conducted, because I think the topic of millennials is not just important in terms of the kind of direction that organizations have to position themselves for, but it's critical for us to understand it from a perspective of mindsets as well, because once in a while it's necessary to look back inwards and see what is it that we need to assess and analyze as far as organization cultures and behaviors, and leadership for that matter needs to keep into account when we're accounting for the millennials who are stepping in. So that perspective was really loud and clear, with the panelists that were present today. The discussions that have happened as a result of that have also been extremely enlightening. So I think the topic chosen was couldn't have been better, and the kind of viewpoints that we've received from the discussions today have been very, very enriching. And my takeaway particularly is of the fact that the millennials are looking for purpose and meaning in the work that they do. And I think that's going to be the key ingredient to having successful workplaces and even more successful millennials going forward. So I think there's a lot of scope of work to do. I think the key message from me and also from what I gathered today is we need to learn to hire and value for purpose. We need to learn to hire and recognize for values. And most interestingly is to have those set of individuals who believe that they can achieve their life's purpose or even meaning in what they do, or they feel that there's a right matchmaking with their values and the organization's values. And that's where they're going to find a lot of meaning and contribution, and they're going to find a lot of stickiness and loyalty factors in the kind of organizations that they work in. So the key ingredient and the key message, according to me, is we need to start looking beyond just competencies and motivation to actually inspiration and values-based and surfacing purpose with individuals that we are hiring on board.